Hello everyone, welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign that is finishing up in the next week. That's right, it's another year, more board game campaigns, and some that we missed from last week. Couple notable titles this week that I'm interested in checking out, but before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor for the episode. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. It's IntotheAM. IntotheAM has sponsored this week of Crowdfunding Countdown. They're sending me some shirts. Some more shirts. Literally, I can't tell you this enough. Literally, my entire wardrobe is IntotheAM. And it was great. I was at a board game convention about a week ago, the Niagara Board Game Convention, and I saw some other people who were wearing the IntotheAM shirts as well, because they used the code SLIPPERYJIM to take 10% off their order. And the best thing about IntotheAM is that, let's go over to their website. They always have these sales. They constantly have sales, and right now they have 30 to 95% off their sales. Some styles, like let's check out their clearance section right now. Look at this. That's cool. That's cool. $10? $10 for this sort of stuff? I always check out their sales section. That's where I try to get a bunch of my stuff anytime I get things. Oh, I like that. I always like stuff that's got stuff on the back. It's kind of fun if you're a surfer person. Yeah, and I'm really excited to check out sort of their button-ups. They're sending me a button-up. They're sending me a long-sleeve Henley. I love their graphic tees. They're super comfortable, super soft, and they are longer than other tees. So when like you're stretching, you don't like expose your belly and your stomach to everybody, which is great. And they've got a whole bunch of new releases coming out. These are all their sort of new releases that they've dropped as well. They always have like really vibrant, exciting t-shirts. That guy's pretty cool. Oh, what was that little thing? Is this a back? Oh, that's the back. And then that's the front. There's another one of those like little emblems. Cool. I'm getting this one because I like owls and I like cherry blossoms. So that's good. And then they were sending me another one, which I'm not sure. It's not in a release. It was like a cream one, Tranquil Ascent. Oh, that's kind of cool. Nice. I'll be interested to try that one. But really, so their graphic tees and the regular tees are super soft. And then I got this like Henley one that I'm wearing right now. I think this one is my favorite from them. And it's like even more soft. Like I cannot tell you, it feels so good to be able to feel passionate about a company. And literally my entire wardrobe is now IntotheAM shirts. And anytime they give me the offer to replace more of my wardrobe with more of their shirts, I say yes, because that's how much I like them and that's how comfortable they are. And they're just like really fun designs. So definitely check them out. Check them out right now. The sale is going on until tomorrow, the 30th. It's been running for about a week. So check that out and get yourself some of these clearance deals before they're gone. But don't worry, I think they're also having another anniversary sale. Next week, I'll have another ad for IntotheAM again because, hey, I like them. They're like, hey, do you want to do 2 integrations, talk about both of our sales? I said, yeah. They're like, because Monday doesn't really work since we drop our sales on Tuesdays. And I'm like, well, sure. I like you guys. I want to talk about you, and I would talk about you anyway. I swear I talk about them on the street when people compliment me. I'm like, hey, now this is going to sound weird, but use the code SLIPPERYJIM to get an additional 10% off. And you get 10% off the clearance too. That's what I love about the code. I get nothing for you using the code. You just get an additional 10% off, and they get to see that people are using the code and like are going to the website because of me. So I guess I get the potential of renewed sponsorship if you use the code, but it's not like it's an affiliate link or anything like that. But yeah, I really like their stuff, and I hope that the button-up arrives because I haven't tried their button-ups yet. And so I hope the button-ups arrive, but I imagine it's going to be of equal quality, kind of like for a little dressy up. I'm really, really excited to see what they do with these sort of button-ups. Anyway, that's the sponsor of the week. Shout out to IntotheAM. Really appreciate when they decide to sponsor the channel because I like shirts. I like their stuff. So it's great. Works out really well. And also, huge shout out goes to my newest patrons. More importantly, sorry IntotheAM, you suck compared to these two. I hope they stopped watching. I hope they stopped watching after that. I hope I gave it enough time. Doesn't matter. I stand by it. A huge shout out goes to John and Robert for jumping on board. Thanks so much for jumping on board the Room and Board Patreon, supporting the channel. This show in particular, I feel is the one that I like to shout out people jumping on and becoming patrons, because I literally do this one for all of you, for all of you guys out there, and they make this possible. If you're not a patron, well, you should thank these patrons for keeping this show going, because this is by far the most in-depth thing that I have to go into every week. And I like doing it, but if they didn't like it, it would stop. So huge shout out to John and Robert. Thank you so much for signing up for Patreon. And also, I made a mistake last week, and Andrew wanted me to shout out his last name. So Andrew Shamalama Ding Dong. There you go. Thanks for being a patron. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have you here. Nice to have you on board, hanging out in the Discord and just chatting. Okay, let's get into the week. It's actually a pretty light week this week, but I do want to start off with one that I missed last week, and that's Hunted Kobayashi Tower, the second edition. You can become an 80s action hero who overcomes impossible odds to save the day in the second edition of this solo game. I don't know why I missed it. I'm going to blame it on GameFound. I'm going to blame it on GameFound's search functions, and not on me. That's how you do things. You just pass the buck. That's the way to do it. But we're going to take a look at it now because some people in the Discord were excited about it. So again, look at you all benefiting from people in the Discord and in the Patreon. They're setting you up with even more fun games, and I just get to be the mouthpiece to share it. So yeah, I'm interested to check this out, so let's do it. I think it's a pretty good price too. This is basically Die Hard the board game, or Psy Hard, depending on what cards you draw. You have to work your way. That's why it's called Kobayashi Tower, because that's where Die Hard took place. So press your luck, roll dice, and manage your resources to overcome impossible odds as you try to get to the roof to take out the criminal mastermind, Lars, not Hans, but Lars, an equally sinister name. I've never met a Lars that I've ever trusted in my life, ever. Just hate him. Sorry to all the kind Larses out there, but I gotta go with what I know. Right? I haven't met you yet, so that's probably why. But the Larses that I have interacted with are just gross, miserable people. Shout out to Lars. Okay, do you have what it takes to save the day and make it out of Lars? I don't know. Comes with a bunch of D6, a bunch of D8, a bunch of D10. Great, you're just gonna be checking dice, going through these hunted cards and these event cards and location cards. You don't want to make any noise. That's the key to this game, is if you make noise, then people will know you're there and they'll overwhelm you. Whereas if you don't make noise, then you can sneak around like John McCain. McCain? Is that? Oh man. I was thinking about John Wick and I forgot about John McCain. Yeah. McClane. That's it. It's not McCain. Yeah, you're sneaking around like John McCain, the founder of McCain's French fry company. You're just trying to get your fries made in time for the big showcase, and you're being hunted by terrorists along the way, and so you have to scatter fries across the doorway. Hot fries, hot oil. Really do it's a cross between Home Alone and Die Hard. This game. What's new? Well, I don't care because I don't even know what's old. Where's the rulebook? So it's $24 for a printed copy, or you can get a print and play for $5 if you already have dice. That's really great. Download rulebook. Yes. Hunted. Ted, could you come in here for a second, hun? Oh, it's not Christmas, though. It's your wife Sharon's birthday. Oh, Sharon. I thought that was November. Place the chocolates card to the right of the handgun card. Place the escape token next to it. Because you have chocolates for your wife Sharon, but you also have a handgun for the bad guys. Not a sweet treat for them to eat. Work your way through the building, get to the roof. Okay, so it's layers, right? You don't have to jump around the building. That's fine. Oh, you know what? I need to go back to the IntotheAM thing, because I was like, you know what? They seem like they're a little bit more expensive than usual. This is a total tangent. When I was looking at the styles and the cost, this is Canadian. I'm on the Canadian site, so it's actually cheaper for you if you live in the US. And shipping's also cheaper. So it's $10 Canadian for that shirt, and for the quality that you get. Yeah, that was niggling me at the back of my head. I was like, wait a minute. The clearance section is usually like $7 or sometimes $5, but that's in US. And I've switched it to the Canadian when I probably should have kept it to the US. And I should have told you about that so that you know that these prices are actually cheaper than they are. Because for the t-shirt club, yeah, because you can get a pack, right? You can get like a 3-pack sometimes. It's like 3 for 60, which, 60 US works out to 89 Canadian. That's why it's a little bit more expensive. Still, the best quality shirts that I own, highly recommend for all currencies. Okay, where were we? We were looking at the rule book for this. I'm glad I remembered that. All right, the game's played over a series of turns. You can have 3 actions: draw a card from the hunted deck, hide, or activate a card in the row. You're going to have these rows up here where you can draw cards from the hunted deck to, create a layout. You can use the cards in the row to explore locations and find equipment, or you can lose time you can hide and clear the row, but then you do lose time because you're working your way through the deck, so you want to be efficient with your draws, or you can push your luck, but if you make too much noise, they'll find you. So if you draw this guy, assuming because he has 2 noise symbols, and there were noise symbols already in the row, well, then you're screwed. Oh, if the draw deck runs out, shuffle the discard pile to create a new draw deck. Okay, that's not bad. That's not too bad. Okay, after you draw a card, I lied to you. This is why you read the rule book and you don't look at the gifts. A good rule of thumb for going into 2024 is just don't assume, because assuming makes an ass out of you. And me! No, yeah, you get it. If there are 2 terrorist cards in the row, or if there's 1 terrorist plus 2 or more bell icons, you must immediately discard all cards and enter into a fight. Yeah, I want to see what a fight's like. Because I imagine, look, how to activate cards, you can use the icons in the top to activate things in the bottom right. That makes sense. So you only have 29 time units. Ah, yes. When would you like to eat supper tonight, honey? Oh, probably around 17 time units. It's definitely how I communicate time. Discard a time token or time unit whenever you hide, roll dice during a fight, reload, activate a regroup card. Okay, and you're constantly placing time tokens on event cards as well. So new events will come throughout the game. I like that. You can recruit people to your side. This seems kind of fun and thematic. Weapons. When a weapon's activated, you place the indicated number of ammo tokens and dice on the weapon card. The dice indicate how many shots you can take before the magazine's empty. And then the ammo token is how many times you can reload. Okay. And so fighting is just rolling dice trying to get hits, I guess. After any time you use a weapon, discard 1 time token because it takes you time to have your fight. You can fight without ammo, though. I like that. But it's all just sort of rolling checks, right? Each unit's going to have sort of a health check, and you got to roll and beat that. And so something like a grenade and bazooka, you get to roll bigger dice and potentially killing multiple people at once. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad I looked at this. This seems slick. 2-player variant? Nah, who cares? You have to provide your own dice to play this variant. I don't think this would be fun as a 2-player game. You just alternate taking turns. So why even bother? But yeah, this one definitely seems fun. And for $24 for a printed copy, what's shipping like? Shipping $5 to the US, $6 to everywhere else. I guess it's going to be a smaller box game, and they're probably subsidizing. The shipping conversation is going to come next week because, well, Niagara board game conversation had to be split up into 2 parts, and I didn't want to split it up and have like a week apart between those videos. Oh, the game is 100% done and ready to be printed. Just need to know how many copies to produce. Yeah. The 2nd edition, I quite like that. I quite like the look of that a lot. I'm not a huge solo gamer, but if you are, definitely check that out. There's probably still time to late pledge, I would assume. I don't know if there is. Project funded, follow. I mean, you could probably follow. Guaranteed there will be late pledges coming up. So just follow it and say, hey, I want to purchase your game. Please let me. And I think they'll probably say yes. If you're interested in that, that's already done. So do that, what I said just now. Let's move along to Nook, which I almost said Nook. A tiny game for a tiny space. Quickly match decor to empty your hand as quick as you can. $12. A speed game, I guess. Print and play $2 or a printed copy $12. All right, I love print and plays. Cards can match 1, 2, or 3 of the design elements. So the thing in the middle, the pattern on the back, and the color. You can also steal the turn from somebody who's going by playing a perfect match. Or another way to steal a turn is by playing a non-matching card on top of a duck, so making sure nothing matches. So it's kind of speed set, I guess. Where's the rule book? I want to see how you play cards. Where do you play cards? Tell me the flow of the game. I mean, I'm intuiting it, but I might just be assuming it. Like you say, on someone's turn. So is it not a speed game? Well, where's the rule book though? Like you kind of describe it, but is it? I'm disappointed in that. I don't think it's a speed game because they say it's like Uno. So just on your turn, then you just get to look at your hand and say, ooh, what card am I going to play? And that immediately makes me less interested. I mean, I guess there is that potential that somebody will play it on your turn, like can steal your turn. And so because of the steal there, you're incentivized to go quicker. I do like that, but I don't know, $12 maybe. If that seems interesting to you, it's $12 or you can print it out for $2. Yeah. Worth checking out. But if this concept feels interesting to you, I would highly recommend Set instead. It's probably behind me. Yeah, this one. Set. It's a great game. I really like this game. And it is that pattern matching sort of thing. You want to get a set that have all of the same or all different. So these are all ones, these are all purple, these are all circles, and they're all different textures, so that counts as a set. And you would say, set! and then you pick up those cards and you add more to the table. A much better and more interesting version of what Nook is trying to offer. Next up, but if you're interested in Nook, that finishes Tuesday, January 30th at 8 p.m. Next up, there's Night. It's just a print and play game, but I like checking them out, so I'm going to look at it. Yeah, this looks pretty robust for a print and play. By Radek Ignatia. What have you made before? 6 created before. Space Alone. Okay, I remember Roll and Meow. Yeah, I remember looking at both of those. Both of those seemed interesting. Island Alone. I guess that's Space Alone, but worse. And other stuff. Cool. I guess I could have just kept scrolling down the page. That would have told me. That would have told me what I needed to know. This time I've prepared a game that serves as my response to Hadrian's Wall. I'd recommend this to anyone who likes Hadrian's Wall. Well, there you go. Is there going to be a rule book, though? That's the question. How it works? Well, this will be close. You get a night, you get a scenario, and the scenarios are all different. And I think that's really interesting. This is what's bringing me into it. This is what's making me more excited, because Hadrian Wall is so static, right? But if there's a way to change up that variability so that you're not always just doing the same actions going all the way through, then that's potentially interesting. So if you have an asymmetric knight, that's cool. And a scenario where you're going to be fighting specific people, I think is neat. And then you also are going to have different objective cards, which is cool. So there'll be an event card. You choose which thing to activate, very similar to Hadrian's Wall. You get a choice of what resources you get. You use the resources to chain combos and face the consequences. And the main mode was originally a solo game. Yeah, that makes sense. Fight different scenarios against an automat's the most extensive mode. Okay, cool. So this is a solo game. But I feel with print and plays, you're probably going to be doing it solo anyway, because you're not going to invite people over and then pull out the print and play, generally, because you want to show off all the big, cool production ones on your shelves. Rulebook, yes! Give it to me! Oh, that's so exciting. I really didn't expect one for a print and play. But I guess because this is robust, they're not worried about somebody just stealing. Cool, you also know what the last event is so that you can build to it. I like that. 2 rounds, and you play 6 turns, and so each one of those turns, I guess, will give you an event? Yeah, gather resource. Oh, okay, and then in the 2 rounds, then you're going to have the battle at the end of each round, right? And these rounds and these turns you're going to be scoring midway through as well. Yeah, I mean, I think this looks really comprehensive in terms of like combos and lots of things to do and lots of things to cross off, and that like dopamine hit that you're going to get continuously is why I like Hadrian's Wall, and probably why I would enjoy this. So everything connects together, yeah, so you have to complete your stables to level 2 to do something, so it's not even like there's a lot of chaining, but it is like specific paths or tech trees that you have to go up. I want to see what's the difference between the scenarios, though. I mean, it's just a print and play. It's like €5. You should know if you want it by now and just take a chance on it. But I like to be thorough, all right? Choosing an option from the event card means that consequences will be triggered, and then you choose to add troops or move troops, and they move along the map. And so there's just different ways that the troops interact. That seems less exciting for scenarios. I guess it's just a way that the troops move around and who you fight. So like not a huge variability, but I guess it gives you a little bit of that area control puzzle. Cool. Yeah. Quite a nice surprise there. €5 for the print and play, $8, but I think you get a nice value. Oh, and you get some additional scenarios if you go for that €10. Yeah, I can see why this is doing really well. Or you can go for €19, you can get all the print and plays if you're a print and play fiend. Cool. Yeah, it's raised 32,000 bucks Canadian. Very, very well done, and I can see why. I can see why people would be interested in this. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Thursday, February 1st at 2 p.m. Oops, we should have covered this one before that. We have Masters of the Universe, the board game, Clash for Eternia. This is a reprint of Kamon's version of Masters of the Universe, but it's now on GameFound. That's a big get for GameFound to have Kamon over there. It hasn't raised a bajillion dollars. The first one did raise over $1 million, so there was a 5 reasons you shouldn't back about it. I'm going to refresh myself a little bit, but I feel pretty confident that I remember everything. And I remember this looking like a really neat game, and then also having a giant gray skull that nobody needs, but everybody wants, so that you can feel like you can play with your toy action figures again, but you're playing a board game, so it's okay. You're not playing with toys. Now shipping worldwide. Oh, this is why they're doing it. Because way back when, there were 2 Masters of the Universe games that came out, and one was for only America, and one was only for the EU, and that was because of licensing restrictions. So clearly they got that licensing thing sorted out, and now they're trying to just be able to ship it to the rest of the world. That's why they're doing this. I see. Now available to the UK, Europe, Africa, and Middle East for the first time. We wanted to give everybody a chance to get the same content. Cool. And they won't be available in retail in those regions, but they got an agreement to shipped to those places. Note, however, that retail products currently are available for instant purchase and delivery in the USA, so it won't be available to USA backers. That makes sense. Great. Don't make your USA backers mad when they can go out and get it themselves. That's also why it hasn't raised that much, but that's pretty good. Clearly, people wanted this one. I think this one looked cool. You can check out the 5 reasons you shouldn't back if you need some FOMO to push you away, and I also cover what I think looks cool about it. I like the controller. I really like how the controller feels in the one versus all game. I think it might feel better as a 2-player game, so that you get to control all of your own team as the hero team versus the villain team, because I think it would be more fun to play as the controller to take people out of it. So 110, I wonder, was that about the same? I think it was probably the same cost back then. It would be foolish if it wasn't the same cost. Yep, 110. So the same, and it raised $2 million back then. So they've picked up, 25%. Oh, there, more into the AM plug. There you go. Picked up an additional 25%. That's pretty good for them. I do kind of like well, I guess you can't get it for the US, but if you missed out on, or if you got the core game and then you're like, wow, this is the best game ever, you have a chance to get all the add-ons that you didn't need to get when you were originally purchasing. I dislike that this box of power costs $100. No, don't do that. Yeah, okay, you can get Clash of Eternia core box and the box of power for 110, or you can just get the box of power for 100. Who's doing this? Why are you doing this? Oh, it's because, oh, that sucks. You suck, come on. Just send it to Canada, I guess, because you can't get this one sent to the US. But if you bought it at retail and you want the exclusive, they're like, yeah, $100. Same price that everybody else is buying the base game and the box for. I really dislike that. That seems scummy, and it seems like a cash grab, and that's what people are falling prey to because it's the cheapest place that they'll probably still be able to get them. Come did this for Cthulhu Death May Die, and people were excited to get the extras, but they realize the value of their exclusives, and that's why they keep on that exclusive model, and then they're deciding they're going to be the ones to scalp you instead of the scalpers. So that kind of sucks. Yeah, that's available to the US, but that's not available to the US. That's fine, just send it to Canada. Alright, what's shipping? Probably a lot. Yeah, gameplay exclusives. Oh, this is nice, though. You can get the extra stuff with free shipping. So they're not going to charge you shipping. They're going to subsidize that. If you just want those 2 extra characters, you don't have to pay a buttload of shipping. I like that. $41 to $57 shipping to get to Canada. Like, oh, it's a lot. It's not subsidized. It's a lot. Still is like $160 for that core game for me. That's like 200 plus for Canada. Get a lot of different exclusives and stuff, but I don't know. I think I like that the rule book is here. I wish there was some sort of gameplay other than that, but they gave me the rule book and they gave me it right at the top of the page, so it's fine. My favorite part though is that like basically whatever you spend as, I can really describe the game. That's because it's in other videos, and I don't necessarily want to repeat myself too much, but here's the gist. You're going to be clashing against each other. There's going to be a good team, a bad team, and the bad team is the one versus the all. That's why I feel like you may want to have a lower player count to face the bad person, because I like for the others, for example, I like it at that lower player count because I feel it's more fun rather than waiting around and letting one person have all the fun. But you've got these 2 sides, you're going to be smashing against each other, but the key thing is that whatever energy that the good people spend on their turn to do special abilities and stuff, that gets given to the controller, the bad person. And so then they can use that energy right back at you. So I really like that idea of that back and forth, that flow. That's the thing that I remember about this game, and that gets me excited about it and should get you excited about it. And if it doesn't, then don't get it. So I think that's the highlight for me. And whatever my highlight is your highlight. That's the moral of this story. 60 minutes playtime. That's not too bad. Anyway, if you're interested in that and you're not in the US, you can check that out now finally over on GameFound, that finishes on Wednesday the 31st at 9 p.m. Moving along to Kabuto Sumo Sakura Slam, the epic standalone sequel to Kabuto Sumo, plus the Swarm expansion. I played Kabuto Sumo for the first time from BoardGameTables.com. Sorry, All Play. And it was fun. It was fun enough. I like the color palette a lot more on this one. And the difference here is that this one's on a square. There's 8 new wrestlers. Whoopity-doo. But this one's on a square, whereas the other one was on a circle. You have a disc. you position yourself around the ring and you push that disc onto the ring and you try to get a cascading amount of events to happen to eventually push your opponent's piece off of the ring. These little pieces right here, these are special wrestlers that can be included. I think it's a fun game. I also think all-play stuff is generally more expensive than I ever want to pay. Like, it's 40 US, that's like 60 Canadian. Oh, I do like that there's a little corner post though. But I guess you can use that to your advantage. That's not going to help keep your pieces on. They're just going to roll right off of it. And just a bunch more wrestlers with different shapes and stuff. Dr. Bibble, who uses a metal piece. There you go. Oh, in Sakura Slam, you must push from the corners of the arena. Okay, so it might just be a better version. Yeah, I found the one time we played Kabuto Sumo, it just went on for a very long time because it's like, okay, I protect my piece. And they're like, okay, I push that piece that you just put on off of the ring. I'm like, okay, I protect my piece again. And then it was like those sort of incremental gains. Oh, cool. And when you push from the corner, you haven't pushed from before. You place a marker tagging that corner. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the better version of Kabuto Sumo. It will be. It'll just objectively will be because they've learned a bunch of stuff. And the new pushing rules, I feel, are going to be great. Still, the smallest charge is 39 US, which is 53 Canadian. You save $4. Whoa. Although BoardGameTables.com, All Play does have generally really good shipping, right? It's always $4. You save your $4 and it costs you that for shipping. That's basically free shipping. Or it's $9 to Canada, which is always nice and possible. And $9 to the EU as well. And even 14 to Australia, which is probably pretty good because no one ships to Australia. Everybody, I think it's going to be great production quality. I think a lot of people will enjoy this. I can see why it's doing well. I can see why they're releasing it just solo because they know it's going to do well and they don't have to bundle it up with four other games. So if you're interested in that, that finishes Thursday, February 1st at 11 p.m. Moving along to Dream State, a dark and disturbing board game. Don't die in your dream. Okay, I gotta tell you before we get into this about this horrible dream that I had the other night. I woke myself up. Have you ever woken yourself up because your dream was so scary? It was scary. Russell Hantz's head got chewed up by a death machine. Okay? And Colby and Heidi, these are all people from Survivor. I assume you knew that. Colby and Heidi were flying around a tanker ship trying to pass a code down to somebody in an underground lair who's going to get chopped up to bits. It was a very scary sort of death game. And I saw Russell Hantz's brain explode. And then I woke up. I don't know why my mind did this to me. Oh, and reliving it is, thanks a lot, Dream State. But 42 people have pledged $2,400. So average 80, average 60 per person. It's not potentially unreasonable. Let's see if this is real or not. It's good you can get the one-player edition, or you can get the Blacklight edition, which, according to some hotel rooms, might be the same edition. Or you might need two players. You might need two players. Who can tell? What happens if we die in our dreams? I don't know. You wake up. I hope you wake up. What happens if Russell Hantz dies in your dreams? Brutally. You wake up. There's some scary art here, but I want to know what the game is. Dream State Core Game, 25. Easy to play, hard to win. Not hard to master. Not easy to learn, hard to master. It's easy to play, hard to win. Oh, I love that there's rules here, but I can't read them? And then they said the two players just take turns. Oh my god, why is this not a link to a rule book? I hate you. Sorry, Carmelita, Kristen, and Tracy. I hate all of you. Why would you do this? I'm zooming in. Ugh. Move marker. One icon. Get it? Because it's in an icon. Draw a Dream Flaw deck, or Dream Flow. Who knows? Resolve it immediately. Draw a Stimuli card. Resolve it immediately. So it's drawing random cards. So you move your eye, you draw random cards. How do you win? The goal is to get the dream marker through all three dream states to the end icon on the board. Then you can awaken. You didn't die in your dream. So you just draw a card and then you move. And then you draw another card and you move. That's what it seems to be. And that sounds completely uninteresting. And if you wanted me to know that it was something different, well, then you should have included better rules on the page. But if you're interested in that, that finishes February 2nd at 7 a.m. Let's move along to Fate. This is something I'm interested in checking out. Defenders of Grimheim, a cooperative adventure board game set in Norse mythology, and this is by Fricks Games. I remember talking to Jacob Frixilius and him talking about Fate coming out. I expected it to be a lot more dark and less cartoony, and I didn't think it was co-op. So I'm really interested to see where this goes, so let's check it out. So it's a tower defense where you need to wait for a certain amount of time before Freya comes back. Kill monsters, gain experience, upgrade your hero, solve quests to discover weapons and equipments, or just complete quests, probably. There's probably no solving, it's just like, hey, punch a monster in the face. You did it. Okay, have a nice sweet little axe there, Viking. That's how it works. That's how most quests work. It's like, most quests, when you really think about it in like any game, and that's why I think Borderlands they're like, hey, go shoot this guy in the head, and I'll give you a gun. It's like, but I have a gun. It's like, yeah, but this one's a nicer gun. So go get that one, and you can come back, I'll give you this gun. It's like, okay, great, you're not gonna give me money? Nah. I got this friggin' gun lying around, and I know you'll probably like it. Go do it for experience, okay? Do it for the experience and not for the reward. €49, 72 Canadian. So it'd be like $100 for me. After shipping, this already kind of bugs me. It's like, why is there 2 hero boxes? I want there to be 4 hero boxes because you can then mix and match the heroes. And you don't have to pull things out in terms of a setup standpoint. It's just already dumb. Oh, and of course you want Syndra and Finkel for the additional $16, probably. Then you can get a bunch of minis as well. Rulebook, give it to me. Yeah, rulebook about a third up at the top of the page. Good job. I imagine it's pretty simple. Yeah, only 12 pages. That makes sense. Yeah, and you don't need the minis. Look, you really don't need the minis. You need these tiles. Don't get the mini version. You get the town pieces anyway. You get your player markers. You get your heroes as minis, and you can have little tiles. They're fine. Trust me, they're fine. Just keep Freya's well alive. That's it. Each hero deck is unique. 40 cards with different abilities that you can upgrade. Cool. I like that. Oh, and all the monsters are going to come in from all sides. Cool. So you got to run around, fight each one. Yeah, it's just a big old tower defense game as you defend Freya's well. The players decide who will be starting player. If they cannot decide, that the one who can drink the most mead without falling over is the starting player. If you decide by this contest, don't continue until all players wake up again. If you've ever seen Jacob Frixilius' beard, you know that he would be the one to win that contest. Move, attack, prepare, so you get a bunch of cards. Focus, mend, practice. Oh, so you can just spend an action getting experience, eh? I prefer attacking things to get experience. Here's a little tip. You actually don't need to say his, her. You can just say they, because it's gender neutral and includes everyone. Just a little tip. Saves you some ink, too. Like, I find this more alienating than just use her or just use they. But it looks like you have these different action spaces and you're going to put a marker on them, and so you won't be able to take that action until it moves. And so I really like that, actually, the idea that you get to take your 2 actions, so you can repeat one of your actions, but you're going to have to move it off the marker first and then take it. So you might have to take things out of order as well. And I think that action selection will be fun. No, I take it all back. It won't be fun. You get to reset the action markers to your empty spots at the end of the turn. Damn, I thought that would be more fun if you didn't. Yeah, I mean, this practice action is probably not the optimal one. You're probably going to be all doing your card stuff, but I don't know. This one's hard to judge. Yeah, and the monsters will get bigger and worse as the game goes on. You're going to get stronger and stronger. You got to run around, punch them in the face. It seems okay. For 49, I mean, it just depends on how much you like tower defense, right? Like, tower defense doesn't really turn my crank, so even though I think mechanically the flow of this would be fine, it's not something that I'm, like, actively excited about. Especially since Syndra and Finkel aren't in the base game. You did Finkel dirty. Hashtag justice for Finkel, you know? What's shipping like? So yeah, Canada 25, US 15. So it's like 65, 70 to get to your door in the US. For me, it's like $100 to get to me in Canada. This is like a game I would pay 50 for, you know, maybe 40. Just because I'm not hugely excited about tower defense, and that's part of the reason. But if you like tower defense, then I think check this out. I think it'll be just a simple tower defense game that works well, is what I think this looks like. Anyway, that interests you. The finish is Friday, February 2nd at 12 p.m. Moving along, this isn't a game. This is just something you can put money into and get videos in return. This is a shout out to the Dice Tower crew. Support the Dice Tower 2024. I'm now, work colleagues with a lot of these people because through World Series of Board Gaming, we're doing a lot of stuff with Dice Tower. We're releasing our commentary on the World Series of Board Gaming pretty much every Saturday on their channel. And I've done like an interview series now on their channel as well. You know me, I'm just everywhere. I'm everywhere. And I like them. I think Dice Tower kind of stands for something really neat in this industry in terms of having like a team that is all full-time. They've got a lot of full-time and part-time staff, and they're really bulking out their crew. So there's 5 days left to back. I don't think they're going to get Sam Healy at this point. Sorry, Sam, you don't have a job still. But maybe you could go to Mythic. I hear they've been raising a lot of money recently. You could go back to Mythic. Dice Tower Studio Extension. Ooh, build something on the house that they have. That's sweet. Yeah, having worked with Dice Tower staff with Tom, Z, Camilla, Roy, lovely people, all of them. Really enjoyed working with them. Looking forward to working with them for the World Series of Board Gaming moving forward. And I'm glad they've hit their goal. They've made it they made their 275, which they needed, and so they're going for stretch goals now. So that's really nice. So if you want to support them, you can. They always give you bundles of promos that they're very upfront and saying, listen, these are not worth what we're charging. They're not. You're supporting us by doing this, and that's why the cost is so high. And I like that. I really do like that. Although I don't think they have promos here then. Look at that. Probably because assembling all the promos takes a bajillion years, and they've stopped doing that, and then now they just have simple add-ons that they can ship out a lot quicker, which from a resource standpoint, in terms of like an actual time resource standpoint, I understand. And then you're also not paying a bajillion bucks for promo cards. I wonder how this compares to their last few Kickstarters though, because people go nuts for promo cards. Tom backed Hissy Fit. Nice. I remember Renee wanted me to back Hissy Fit, and I didn't. So Tom is a better person than me. Or somebody over using the Dice Tower's account backed Hissy Fit. Let's see what had happened back in 2013. 2013, they raised 70 grand of $20,000. Wow, really grown. Cool. What was last year's? I think last year's was the same funding goal, 275. And they raised 410, 240 of a funding goal. Now it's 275, but they raised 410 last year. They're sitting at 320 right now. I wonder if it's the promo thing, because I know they did promos last year. They did 377 the year before in 2022, for 2022, coming out of COVID. Promo Pack Air, Promo Pack Bone, yeah, AV, etc. Interesting. This is fascinating to me. I'm sure they're looking back and analyzing it as well. They made 347, so kind of fluctuating in 2021. Haven't hit any of that, but there's still 5 days to go. We'll see. We'll see how much they raise. I think they're going to raise less. I think they're going to hit around this 347 bar because they don't have promo packs and people love promo packs. But then again, maybe you're paying somebody for a month to basically just pack up all the promo packs is probably what would happen, right? That's where that cost goes to. So maybe you save money on it. I don't know their finance. But I do know that, like them or hate them, the Dice Tower's done a ton for the board gaming hobby. And even though there are other channels that are larger than Dice Tower, I feel like Dice Tower is really synonymous with board gaming personally, just because of the amount of content that they put out and the amount of people that they now have on their staff. And I think that's pretty cool. So if you want to support them, you can do that Friday, February 2nd at 11:59 p.m. Or if you just want to support me, well, you can sign up for the Room Board Patreon. Moving along, I just thought these looked really nice. I don't know if there's any left. 76 left. One of each style, one. Okay. All gone, one of each style. There's 20, so there might be a few more. 24 left of 25, and then 4 left of 80. So I'm filming this kind of later than I like to, but you can potentially get one of these for 12 bucks Canadian, £7. And I might as well play this because I assume it's just going to be showing a picture of these little wooden dials, handcrafted wooden dials. Those seem smaller than I was expecting. But to count your life points, if you were in the market for something like that, I should get those for Attack on Titan, honestly. No, I'd want smaller ones for Attack on Titan. Yeah, they kind of look cool. They look a little bit cooler zoomed out, to be honest. And I'd love to know the scale of these. I got enough material to make about 100 counters. But yeah, I think just why do you not have the dimensions? Yes, what are the dimensions of the counter? At their widest point, it's 70 by 35 by 9 millimeters. So 9, that's the depth, right? So about a centimeter. 3.5 centimeters is like this, and then 7 centimeters is like this. I take it all back. Those are way too tiny. Those are way too tiny. I get it that it's handcrafted wood, but I want it to be larger to be worth the value. And there's probably no shipping, so I don't know. But I just thought they looked cool, and I wanted to look at them, but you can see how small they are there, which I probably would want it a little bit bigger, but maybe not. Depends on what fits into a box. Anyway, if you're interested in that, it finishes Sunday, February 4th. A very lovely day at 1:05 a.m. Moving along, we just have 2 left, and they're probably not going to be good, so if you want to leave now, you can. I get it. I've taken up enough of your time. But if you want to stay with me, that's okay. We have Mad Hatter, a crazy tactic card game. It's a print and play. It's not raised a lot. I was going to... Oh, just be quiet. This is going to be nonsense. Just give me some visuals so I can talk about it. I've already looked at this because I was like, should this be cut? Maybe it should be cut. You basically are creating sets in front of you, and then you're stealing sets from other people by giving them cards that have higher value. And so, like, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the example that they gave down below as well. You can play a 5 and a 6, right? Play the 5 and the 6. You just give the 5 and the 6, there we go, the 5 and the 6 to your opponent, and you get to take their set and you get to add your own thing to it to make it harder to be stolen. And the fact that you, in order to steal something, you have to add something to it and make it harder to be stolen, and that you're giving away cards, could potentially make this a fine card game. I don't think it's going to be necessarily good at all, but I think it's going to be fine. And for it being fine, you get a little bit of coverage. And so there you go. That's Mad Hatter, the crazy card game. The finish is on February 5th, 12:59 a.m. Might just be because there aren't many campaigns this week again as we slowly boot up into the year, or it might be because I thought, you know what, it would be fine. I wouldn't objectively hate it, so you got some coverage on it. And then finally, the last of the week, we've got Metrorunner, hack into a gritty cyberpunk city filled with challenging puzzles and underworld contracts in this strategy board game for 1 to 5 players. Let's check it out. Another cyberpunk game that looks like it's with cards. Oh, but it's by Thunderworks. They're a good company, right? Well, that was nonsense. Didn't tell me anything. Metrorunner is a competitive worker movement and resource collection game. Okay, so you're running around the board. Not worker placement, worker movement, so you only have one. There'll be a number of actions, also known as action selection. But maybe because they're close to each other, the positioning might make sense or might matter. Let's see. How to play, right at the top, though. There's story and how to play, so I like that. Just getting into the meat of what this game is. And these are creating little pathways in this little slide puzzle area. Ooh, some metal pan-up tiles. I think that actually might be nice. Rather than the paper that they're going to be. Rather than just the crumpled napkins of the base retail version. How to play, yes. Okay, I like you. Good job. On your turn, take an action. You can move 2 spaces on the Metro Rondel or spend resources to move further. Great. Okay, I do like this. Take actions, choose to collect resources, hack the network, or claim job cards. Okay, that seems pretty simple. You're grabbing resources. You're trying to complete objectives before anybody else. Manipulate pan-op tiles to complete an available hack. A successful hack earns resources, credits, and advances your notoriety. Okay, so it's basically like, get this section connected to this section. I don't think that's going to be that fun of a thing in the middle, so I hope it's not too huge. Complete jobs. Spend resources to complete job cards, unlocking bonuses and ongoing abilities. Slot jobs strategically under your player board to fulfill contracts. So there's spaces, which will unlock stuff for you. I like that. There's ways to jump around the rondel, and then you're climbing up these tracks. Score points for completed job, contracts, and your final position in the underworld. Great. That makes sense. Where's the rulebook, though? I want to see the number of actions you actually get to take. Nope, still no rulebook. Why is it all the way down here? Just put it right after your how to play. I know, it's because you don't want to link people away and get them forgetting about all your fun little stuff. All right, I also want to know how this hack action works, because I feel like you could get locked out of it. If it's only move one thing, I'd be like, I don't care. I don't want to. Oh, does each character have a different way of hacking? That is interesting, because then only certain characters can ostensibly complete a hacking job, and then you're just like, well, I guess I'll wait until this person's ability can complete it. I don't know. I need more. You move at least 1 space. You can do 2 spaces. You can pay resources to keep moving. You can use a jump to jump anywhere. You can jump over people. It doesn't count. That makes sense. 2 types of actions. Location actions. You can acquire job cards. You can collect assets. You can contact agents. So basically, when you move up the notoriety track, you can get more more resources. This will escalate the pace of the game as the game goes along, which is pretty good. And then hack the network, yeah. Manipulating the panop tiles. Please assault neural opportunity pathways. I think that's what it stands for. Or Papa asks Nana over pie. Please, Nana, can you hack the system for me? Just this once. Oh, okay, and if you don't like the place that you landed on, you can take a district action, which is one of the 4 different spaces, the 4 different colors. So you can just take a district action, which will look like taking a cube of that specific color, or a job of that specific color, probably. Yep, easy to read, easy to absorb. Oh, cool, okay, and then when you complete a job, you get an ongoing ability from that job. So you're not only picking jobs that you can complete for points, right, resource cost and then a reward, but you are also completing them for like a slight engine building. I like that aspect, you should leave with that. And you want to only complete jobs of your home district because you get a big 5-point bonus at the end. Okay, tell me about hacking. Everything else feels pretty standard. Get resources, complete the jobs, done. Okay, a player can manipulate the tiles up to 2 times and no cost, and then to perform additional manipulations, you have to pay a resource. So, okay, and what is considered manipulating a tile? Swapping it or rotating it? Or swap and rotate? Define manipulations. Thank you. Rotate, swap. 2 adjacent tiles can be swapped, or shift, so basically from one end to the other. So you can do 2 of those manipulations for free, so you can swap and rotate. All right, and then you can probably do your own character manipulation. Yep, once per hack action. All right, so it doesn't feel that overpowered. Oh, and I hate this. A brute force token may be placed on any non-skull as a free action, and you just make it a 4-way thing. So you just are like, oh, I'll brute force it. I just feel like brute force will always be used then, and I dislike that, because it takes the puzzle out of it. Like, this token no longer becomes important. You're just like, no, I'll brute force, done. But all you get, yeah, you want to advance your notoriety. You wouldn't really care about, well, credits can give you extra turns. Resource Cube can get you extra jobs. Oh, okay, and there's even more contracts that you can achieve. You just are in a race to get that, and in a race to get the most of your own. Oh, and you have to complete them in the same completed job slot. Yeah, I don't quite I must have skipped it, about when you can activate these additional... I guess you can use these whenever, but whatever slot you put it under, you just get that as a bonus. So you have to choose what bonuses you want to get, and which ones you're going to try to be completing as well. So there's a tapping your head and rubbing your stomach feel as well. Okay. Yeah, I like it. How much are you, though? Wow. God. $48 US, 65 Canadian. I was thinking this would be like a $30 game, but it is not. And then shipping, $10 to the US. Oh, so maybe it is a $30 game. 14 to Canada. But so for me, it's like $80 Canadian, $85 Canadian to get to my door. 58 US to get to yours if you're in the US. But, you know, the majority of the audience is in the US, I think. EU, $12. UK, $12. So pretty standard across the board. Ah, dang. If this was 30, I was really hoping it'd be like, you know, skinny box, not that much stuff in it. Well, I guess 100 resource cubes, but really, you just have cubes and cards, right? Like, I'm not going to pay $85 for cubes and cards and like some basic objective cards. Just feels too expensive to me, but everything does. So, you know, take that for what you will. I still think it looks cool, though. I think it looks good. Not exceptional, but good. That finishes Tuesday, February 6th at 6 p.m. That's it. That's it for the week. So not a lot this week, but still a couple things. I'm trying to think if there's a pick for me at all. I don't think there is. I think there is a pick for you. I think there's a pick for you, but I don't think there's a pick for me. Even Master of the Universe, Kabuto Sumo I've played, it's just fine. Like, I'm not going to make a pick for me just fine. I'm not. So there's no pick for me. The pick for me is there's been some games that I've been really excited about recently. Silver Scram. Well, I can't make those pick for me because that'll be pick for me whenever it comes up. Whenever their Kickstarter's done. I don't want to tell you what my number 1 is of Niagara Board Game Convention because that'll give away the lead. It'll bury the lead, but that one was really good. My pick for me is watch the Niagara Board Game recap and pick either myself, Zach, or Colin's number 1 game and get that at retail. That's my pick for me. And my pick for you is going to be the one that I missed. And I'm not just doing this. I swear I'm not doing this. This is the second time that I picked a game that like some people over on the Discord were excited about. The first one last week being Battle of Versailles. This one being Hunted. I think this looks like a slick solo game. I think there's a reason why people brought it to my attention and were like, hey, you missed covering this. It looks good. And I agree that it does look good. I think it looks like a nice, easy solo game where you get to chuck some dice, go through a fun theme, and yeah, I think it looks better than everything else this week. So there you go. That's the pick for you. The pick for you is to go back in time and back hunted a Kobayashi story, Kobayashi Tower, 2nd edition. Or let me know things that I missed this week. Let me know anything that's upcoming. We'll be gearing up slowly. The year kind of builds a little bit slower, but we still had a lot to talk about. And just gives us time to go into things in a little bit more depth than we might have to when we have the 20 to 25 campaign weeks, which will happen. But they'll happen in the summer when I'm very busy and don't want them to happen. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. That's it. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, and I don't have an ending joke. So get lost!